Hello and welcome to another episode of the Be Awesome at Facility Management podcast. I am one half of the host here, Joshua Peach. We've got the other half, Mr. Paul Anastasi, and it looks like you made it downstairs in downtown Watertown.
Yeah, a very rare occasion on a weekend that I'm home at the homestead, not on the road.
Well, appreciate you making the time. This is another one of those last minute, I got a great idea podcasts, and we had to put together a whole crew here who we'll introduce. But
I noticed that it doesn't matter if I don't answer the phone. You still book the podcast, and
yes,
we go with it. Yeah,
100%. I book. I just say yes, it works, and this is the time that we're going to do it. And you magically show up most of the time, all the time except for one, I think. So
yeah,
this is good. But no, we got three awesome guests with us today. They're going to talk for about a half an hour. What's happened is it's October 13th, Friday the 13th, and I've been on the road since September 20th, going to events all around the country, and a lot of great events. And yesterday I listened to a webinar, which I thought was genius for vendors to prepare for an upcoming Midwest Facility Masters Conference, and I'll share more with why I wanted to do this. But the Midwest Facility Masters Conference is coming up in 2 weeks, and they're on a mission to get to 400 attendees. They're pretty darn close. And I said, let's let more of the world hear about what this is, what it's all about, who puts it together, and share it with folks to get them to reach and exceed their goal of attendance. So I grabbed John Stangler yesterday from Milwaukee, which John's been on the pod. You've been on the podcast before, haven't you, John?
Yes, I believe twice.
So a three-timer. I don't know that we have a three-timer yet.
Yeah.
Well, welcome aboard. And so he grabbed Jeremiah Johnson and Andy Daniels, all on the committee, kind of the heads of the committee for the Midwest Facility Masters Conference, and grabbed these guys to put on this podcast episode to share all things Midwest FMC. So welcome, guys. Thank you for taking some time to jump on with us.
Thanks for having us, Josh.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
No, my pleasure. And I just realized, because the chat just popped up, that I forgot that this is live. So this is live. Matt Oliver, glad to see you back. We missed you, Matt. We're glad to be back. So yeah, for those that are listening in, watching, feel free to throw some questions, comments, concerns, or anything else our way. We'll gladly do our best to answer them. So I'll let any of you three just jump in on this thing. What is the Midwest FMC, and how did it come about?
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, John, you got it. All right. Well, the Midwest Facility Masters Conference started 16 years ago. It was originally at the Wyndham in Milwaukee, and now it's at the Kalahari Resort in Wisconsin Dells. I believe the first conference had about 161 people, and then we're shooting for over 400 this year.
Yeah.
And it originally started with a few members going down to Texas, ASBO, and formulating a plan to have a Midwest conference very similar. And said, you know what, we can do it bigger and better. So we took it back to Wisconsin and also worked with Illinois ASBO and the other ASBOs around the Midwest to put on a much larger conference to accommodate all the Midwest for facilities management.
Yeah. So what are the states that covers that you guys invite typically?
So I don't think it's limited to anybody outside the Midwest, right? But most of the participants or attendees and exhibitors are coming up from Illinois. We have a lot of people coming from Minnesota, but we're getting some people up from Missouri this year. We've seen people from Michigan in the past, and I think it's even expanded out. Like I feel like a few years ago, we actually had some people from the East Coast that joined us, besides you, Josh.
Yeah.
But we had some other people come from the East Coast as well. But it's not limited. I mean, Iowa, we have some people occasionally from there as well. So
you had folks from Ohio years ago that they started a facility conference with it. Yeah. So
how much time went by between the 160 attendees to the 400? What kind of time frame was that?
So this will be our 16th year.
16 years. Oh, that's great.
16th year.
Yep.
We've been having the Midwest Masters.
And I've been to 15 of them.
Wow.
Anybody been all 16?
Yep. Yeah, I
You
believe
haven't?
I've been to all 15, and then it'll be 16 this year.
Yeah, I'm hitting 15 this year. So yeah, I didn't come to the first one, and then I started coming to all the others following. I know I've been all the ones. I've been all of them. The ones at the Kalahari. I know I wasn't at the other place there. I don't know how many years. Maybe I have been. I'm gonna have to go back in the Wayback Machine, check my calendar, and see where I was. So, but so all conferences are not created equal. What does yours look like from a professional development standpoint? What do people get? And one of the things I'd love for you to talk about a little bit more on, which I'm a huge fan and advocate of, is your core certification programs and what people can take advantage of at the event.
I'll take this one. So super excited for this conference. And I think one thing that sets us apart is we always have super great keynote speakers. And it's really awesome that we bring people from different states together and really the best of the best. And so oftentimes I find just as much value connecting with people in the corridor or at our after hours activities. So there's always a lot to do from sun up to sundown, a great keynote speaker or two that really engage the audience. And then our core certification program is several modules that WASBO has put together that a facility manager can take to become certified in the state to do facility manager work. So maybe you're a custodian that's aspiring to be a leader or a head custodian aspiring to be a director. It's a great opportunity to get the gamut of all things facilities management.
And is that just a Wisconsin certification, or you have some people from so many states? Is it used in other states as well?
It is a Wisconsin certification, but I believe it would be endorsed anywhere you go because it is a full program. So you'd have to spend a couple of
years. And a lot of the certifications that we offer also can get into the Illinois ASBO certification as well. So, and just to go back a little bit to what Jeremiah had said, and to answer really Josh's initial question is like, what sets us apart a little bit? Well, if you think about just expanding out to the Midwest, that opens up the doors for a lot of different speakers, a lot of different opportunity for exhibitors as well. So we're not just hamstrung by staying within Wisconsin, which there's nothing wrong with that either, because we do have another conference in February. Sorry about that. It is primarily Wisconsin. However, just having the ability to expand out to so many other states just makes our conference better, because again, a lot more opportunity to network with people outside the state of Wisconsin that bring a completely different perspective sometimes. And then obviously just seeing a lot of those other exhibitors that again might have solutions that we might not have heard about just within our own state.
Andy, you don't know this, but my hobby is to be able to tell different dog breed barks. That's a French poodle.
I'm sorry, no offense to anybody on the call, but that's a lab. I would not have.
That was my third. That was my third guess. I was going to say Labradoodle next. So no French poodle. All right.
Well, good guess.
I have one more thing to add regarding uniqueness of the conference. There's a variety of tracks too. So at any given moment during the conference, after the keynotes, we have a lot of heavy hitters going. And there's 8 concurrent sessions going on in multiple categories, whether it be workplace culture and people management to leadership, safety and security, community partnerships, infrastructure management, sustainability, long-range facility planning. And then, as Jeremiah mentioned, our core certification facilities program.
Yeah.
So who puts all that together? Do you have an event planner, a company that you hire? How does that all come together? That's not an easy task, what you just said. You just said it in a couple of seconds, but I know it's not easy to do.
Yeah, so we have to give more credit than anything to WASBO, right? Wisconsin Association of School Business Officials. They have an awesome team: Jeannie Diamond, Caitlin Peters, Mike Berry, Ryan Silvala. They're the ones that really kind of bring it all together, do all the coordinating, book the hotels, book the conference areas, work with those teams, work with us, put the meetings together. Like, there's so much that's done behind the scenes that I can't even imagine what they're doing. I just know a little bit about what they're doing, but they're the ones that make all the magic happen. And we bring the facility director's perspective to really help guide and make sure that the attendees are getting what facility managers deserve. So, but WASBO gets a lot of that credit.
Wow.
And just out of my own 27 years of experience coming to conferences like this, and I think all of you touched on it a little bit. The conference for facility professional has changed dramatically over the last 15 plus years. 15, 16 years ago at the first event, it was probably very strong on the actual job of facilities, the turning of wrenches, the best practices, the equipment, cleaning best practices, things like that. And you're saying things, I mean, like I looked at the first session on Monday, which is leading during and after grief. And I believe that's a superintendent, if I'm not mistaken, and out of Illinois, right? Is that who's doing that one? That is an amazing. I've watched and listened to his presentation. I'm not going to give it away, but that is a very powerful presentation. I think everyone is going to deal with tragedy and grief in their life, and how do you continue on, especially as a leader, empowering underrepresented groups to elevate your work culture. Empowering women in leadership, stress management in the workplace. So there's a ton of, like, a lot of folks probably think, oh, it's a facility management professional development. No, this is a leadership professional development that just so happens to have the members coming as facility professionals. I mean, there's a lot on turf management. There's access controls. There's storm shelters, impacts of school design. I mean, you got all that stuff, but you actually have a ton of awesome content around being a more effective leader in life, not just in facilities, which is really cool.
Yeah, so it's packed full. Like you can go there and you wish you had more time or could get to more sessions, right? So, but I think one of the other things, and John might have hit on it, but the big hitters. And, you know, I got to give credit to Jeremiah specifically, because he was really one of the key players in there. I'm sorry to put you on the spot there, Jeremiah, but do you want to talk about the big hitters you lined up for us?
Yeah, so each year we're really fortunate to have a solid keynote speaker, and we have 2 of those this year. One thing we've been thinking about, though, is how do we attract even, people at the top of their game in different job segments, or even our own job segment. And we were able to secure a local sportscaster that's going to talk about leadership that he's observed in the sports field, whether it was going to a Super Bowl and seeing folks' reaction and players and how they work together. And then we also have Adam Stockwell, who's the lead of security for the Milwaukee Bucks. He used to work in the Secret Service and just brings a host of background information on what it's like to work security for Giannis and now Damian Lillard. So it'd be really cool to hear what that's like to work that detail and the behind the scenes work. And we want to continue to grow that as the years go by, to find people that are at the top of their profession, that are the facilities masters of what they're doing. And we're excited that this year we're continuing that.
I think it's interesting that you're reaching out of the norm. And I think we've all done that from time to time, where we don't have just the state people coming down to talk about asbestos or lead in the water and those things. And a speaker, like one of the best ones I've heard in our Massachusetts group was an attorney that worked for the New England Patriots. And he talked about how he was inside the organization and how they build a team and their interview process, and right down to the combine, and how they do all that stuff. And it was one interesting because it was out of our normal facilities talk, but it's still related back to building a team, and that's what we all do. So it's great to see that you guys are doing that and getting the attention of the people.
There is a great solid leadership principle, and that is, like, in order to grow, you have to get outside of your sphere of influence, and sometimes that means looking into businesses and private sector and different areas to expand your thoughts and what you're seeing. And so John and I actually got to do a tour of the Pfizer Forum last summer, where we got to check out their security measures. Now we think in terms of schools, but there are ways that we can integrate things that the Bucks are doing for school for security into school safety and working towards that. So yeah, it's great to grow throughout sectors.
Well, and you guys, all 3 of you, know that I very rarely, if ever, miss one of your sessions if I'm within 100 miles of you. So what do you guys? And you always got to have something lined up. So I'm assuming all three of you are either tag team and triple team and solo in at least 1, 2, 3. How many sessions do they dig in for you guys to do? And what are you talking about? Because I got my list right here. I want to make sure I check them off the map here.
John, why don't you start?
I think I'm tagged for 4 or 5.
Oh,
I
my.
have to look at the schedule again. 4 or 5.
And I want to. So do you have get the list for me, John? Because I want you to share the classes, and I want to talk about.
We got budgeting for school facilities. We have how to interact with the public, how to sell your program, how to identify and communicate success with yours truly, Jeremiah Johnson. And then also I'm assisting on a severe weather teaching information and having a discussion about how tornado warnings were handled last October, where they happened in the middle of the day.
Now, I'm a super fan of Pewaukee. That's a given. That's known. I make no bones about it. The how to deal with the public session. If you're there, that better be capacity, standing room only, in the hallway, for the one reason and the one reason only, because after I booked this podcast, I don't do much on social media, but the first post, I went to go post something on Instagram. And for those of you watching, you can see this right here. This is a post from Pewaukee School District, and it says, "We want to hear from you." And this is a school district Board of Education approved community survey that's asking community members, stakeholders, to take the survey and let them know, the school district know, what's important in the facilities of Pewaukee. That's pretty freaking cool, because you're not going to manipulate that. You're going to hear, hey, is it more important for us to work in the science lab and get that up to par, or is it more important for us to figure out how to get the next football field? And I have not seen a school district do that and put it across social media platforms to put it out there. So that's amazing. So congratulations, hats off. And I'm sure you're going to talk about that when you do that session.
Yes, slightly.
Yeah. I
like the background there with the is that tornado in the background?
It's actually the theme. It's the theme for the conference right here.
Oh, okay.
It's the backdrop for the conference. So again, wasbo.com/Midwest or Facility Masters. You can access it at either of those websites to sign up.
And Jeremiah, what are you talking on?
Kind of excited. I have 3 topics. One John mentioned that we have been kicking around. It was actually, for the record, our first presentation we ever put together for WASBO probably 8 years ago, and we used to stumble through it, and I think we've gotten a little better now. But one of the sessions I'm excited about is where we had a fire last year at one of our schools, where we had to shut down the school for 9 days, and so we have me, one of our facility leads, our insurance company, our restoration company, and the insurance adjuster, somebody that we typically don't play nice in the sandbox with, all presenting on how we came around the immediate reaction, setting up temporary learning spaces, business continuity, messaging to the community, and then how we wrapped it all up. So it's a massive insurance claim, a lot learned, and so it'll be cool to share about that. And then I have another session called The Realities of Referendum Projects, where I talk about the process of a building referendum from really start, the inception of the idea, all the way through cutting the ribbon at the end. So it's really boiling 3 years of work down into about 50 minutes. But I think it really captures all the work that a lot of us have to do when we go through a building project.
I love it. And you know what else I love? I love that these are all either new or 2.0 versions that haven't been done in a while. Because the last one that I saw, Jeremiah, that you were a part of, that was one of my, I've recommended it to people all over the country, which was, if I get the wording wrong, Real World Ethics for Facility Managers.
Oh yeah. Me and Brian.
That was top 5 from a facility professional, not really thought of, but something that's needed and really thought provoking. That was out of this world. So now I'm hoping you guys aren't all giving these at the same time, because I can't split myself up. So Andy, what do they got you doing?
So I don't know if John and Jeremiah realize this, but I don't have any. So I'm not presenting.
That's
So-
out of the bag now.
So maybe I'll be following Josh around. I don't know.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, happy to actually say that I do not have anything because this is the first conference in a long time that I actually get to focus a little bit on my own professional development, and then in the meantime, like really just spending time with exhibitors, networking, helping out WASBO staff as they need it, and really also just seeking out like maybe first time attendees and getting to know them, trying to make sure that their experience is going well, so that we can make sure that we can bring these first time attendees back as well. So yeah, no, I'm out of it on this one. So
Well, what's funny is that was going to be my next comment was you guys need you need to alternate taking a break at some point so that you can take in and do all the other stuff, and because you give so much. And I get to see it, right? I'm a bit of an insider, and part of the reason why I know that they're really close to reaching. And this is a big, hairy, audacious goal, by the way. This 400 number was something pre-COVID that you guys were close to getting to. You were right there, and then COVID hit, and then it was a rebuild, right? It was the first one back was in the summer, which had never happened before, in I think June, and then last year was a lot of work to get people back on the regular schedule, and now this year, you guys are battling Halloween. Trick or treat, and for you to be so darn close, I know you're going to do it. The shameless plug for me, Jeremiah was beating around the bush. I think they're all beating around the bush about these two keynote speakers. One of them is phenomenal, Colonel Arthur Athens, on day 2 to close out the conference. He is amazing keynote speaker. As a matter of fact, I don't. This hasn't been shared publicly, I don't think. But as I was working through my own professional growth of wanting to be a paid keynote speaker and someone that's doing, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I say it every day that I get to do the things that I do. I saw Arthur Athens in Ocean City, Maryland, in 2019, and he blew me away with his keynote. He was on my podcast, my Be Awesome podcast. And I had always said someday I want to be able to share the stage with them, and I have the honor to open the event, would be the opening keynote speaker. And the people that have already registered, I'm sorry, if you've registered after this, one thing you might not get, we're going to do our best to fulfill for everybody, but a very special edition Be Awesome Midwest Facility Masters Conference t-shirt that is pretty awesome. And so I saw the shirt order 2 days ago, and I was like, man, they are so close. And that was by the close date, which was October 7th, I think. So this is why I wanted to have this podcast. If we can just get, you guys just need a handful or so of folks to register, and I think I think there just needs to be a couple people that need to hear how awesome this event is, the hard work, who puts it together. By the way, to finish a little bit of the question that you had, Paul, about who puts this on, WASBO definitely does a lot of the oversight, management, and organization, but the other ASBOs also contribute a ton resource-wise. And then you couple that with a committee of actual practitioners, facility professionals that get together every month of the year. They don't just get together 3 months out. This planning for 2024 will start on November 1st. This thing gets done October 31st, and they're already hitting the ground running on their monthly meetings, putting together targets, having a committee chair. This is a year-round effort to put on. I would say one of the top facility professional. It's the top in the Midwest. One of the top in the Midwest facility professional events. But this is one of the tops in the country. I mean, it's just a class act run, start to finish.
And I think it's important what Andy said, that even though he's not speaking, step back. There has to be someone that, because when you're in it, you're in the trenches. You're moving one step behind and 2 steps to the side. But if you're in that position where you can stand back and watch it for short periods of time, I think that's crucial. That's in the next planning for the next event. I think it's really a good thing to do. Just absorb, stand back and absorb, watch it happen.
Yeah. And the other piece, which is a key piece, which is why I was texting John. I was actually I'm not supposed to say this, I don't think, but I was actually on
stopped you before.
No, I know. I was on a plane listening and watching the webinar for vendors yesterday, landing, and then we landed. And I was on the Wi-Fi, their Wi-Fi, so it worked. So it wasn't like I was on my cell thing. But they said, "Hey, you can't watch Zoom," but I didn't think that they had a problem with audio, so it worked. Actually, worked pretty good. But I was in the landing zone, and I was texting John as it was going on, trying to distract him, which he was. It was an impossibility. I tried my darndest. But one of the things, a large part of being able to have this event is through vendors and sponsors. And you guys have, the hall's full, right? You guys sell out every single year. You have a waiting list every single year,
and a good long waiting list on top of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Kalahari had to double the size of their space for you, so that's what they were perfectly fine until you guys came in, and then you said we need more space, or we're going to find somewhere else to go. But you guys have some of the best vendors, Rinderly Door, Stalker Floor, Operations Hero. Shameless plug for me. You've got some great companies that have been around for a very long time, just to name a few. But you got like 150 vendors too that people can go and learn about different product, services, and solutions that they have. So throw a little out there as far as what that's about, and also something very unique that I just think is fantastic. Paul knows this. I absolutely hate vendor raffles. I hate them. I think it is the biggest scam, and I say it openly. And I'm a vendor, but I think it's the biggest scam to tie up your time by offering a Yeti cooler or a Yeti coffee mug or a sleeve of golf balls, and you put your business card in there and you lose at that. But what you win at is having a vendor relentlessly call and email you for the rest of your life, regardless of what you say to them. And you guys have you have the single best take on how to have raffles and give companies exposure without exposing your members to relentless calling. There's 140 or so vendors there. If everybody puts their business card in every raffle, they're a full-time job of having to hammer that stuff. So talk about the vendors, talk about the way that you do your raffles, and then finally, John, I don't even want to talk to you about how you win, because I'm not even talking about that, because it's a joke. It's a competition between John and I, which would be a completely different podcast. But he beats me every year at what he wins and what I don't. But what the money goes to, because you guys do it right.
Go ahead, John.
Go ahead, all yours.
So the money goes to scholarships, right? So each exhibitor is encouraged to bring some type of item to their booth that can be used towards a raffle. And keep in mind too that we try to control, and that was brought up in the webinar, we try to control how much these vendors and exhibitors can actually contact the attendees, so that they can, they don't want to burn bridges by like inundating them after or even sometimes before the conference. But yeah, each exhibitor is encouraged to bring some type of item, whether it's a gift card. I've seen like trail cameras for hunting. We see coolers, fishing poles, gift baskets, that sort of thing. But all the proceeds from selling the raffle tickets goes towards scholarships. And then those scholarships, like this year, we have 13 scholarships that covers attendees, it covers the scholarship recipients' cost to attend the conference. I think they even get like a year membership with WASBO. And those scholarships usually are given out to first-time attendees, or they have to answer certain questions, and depending upon their response, they become leading candidates, that sort of thing. But all the proceeds from the raffle go right to the scholarship, so that we can get more people at the conference. And again, like I mentioned, first-time attendees, we try to get there, which hopefully they enjoy the conference, so they come back, and typically they do.
I just wanted to add too, like we're shooting for this 400 goal, and really it's not just to get more people, but it is to build that synergy. So when we have a sold out vendor hall, we want as many people as possible seeing those products and interacting with the vendors. And at the same time, as many people building their own skill set and profession and knowledge of things that are happening. So it's great when you're presenting to a packed room versus some of our COVID days when you'd have 6 or 7 participants. So we just believe in the energy and the synergy to bring a lot of people together to this event.
And that's always the toughest thing at these events is when you're setting it, is getting bodies in front of the vendors. The vendors pay good money to be there,
Yep.
and you want to get those. You want traffic on that floor for them. I mean, they're partners. It's not against us anymore.
Well, it's rising tide floats all ships, and this team has figured it out, and they've done everything. This is the one thing that I got out of that vendor call yesterday, and why it was so important for me to sit in and listen to it. I had an idea what they were going to say, but if you were a vendor and you took the time to listen to this webinar with what they all said, it was come, go to classes, be in front of places, go to all the events we have. Everything that we give to our members, we're giving to vendors to attend. It's not just for you to sit in the vendor hall. I mean, John actually told vendors how to behave in the vendor hall, which is like you're listening to a buyer tell you that they don't want you to sit behind a desk. You're listening to a buyer tell you to be engaging. You're listening to a buyer tell you only call or email once from the list that we're giving to say thank you or to see if they needed anything else. Do not badger and call over and over and over again, because that's not going to build a relationship. Do all the things, like they told them all this stuff. I'm sitting here, don't give away all the secret sauce. I need to still have an unfair competitive advantage on some people here, but they told them all this stuff. And I can tell you that a bunch of them aren't going to do it. And those are going to be the ones that complain, but they're doing everything that they can to get a collective group to get better across the board, because sadly, at the end of this 2 days, everybody goes back to their island, known as their school district. And it takes a lot to keep that motivation and that energy for them to come back the next year. Like you need to give, in some of these cases, you need to give 365 days of motivation and energy in 72 hours, right? You need to get people amped up so they don't burn out before next year. So they come back and they reload all over again. And that's a lot. You guys do a magnificent job of it.
And how do you choose your vendors? I mean, you got a waiting list. So is it first come, first serve, or by reputable vendors that you've used before? How do you come to choosing a vendor to be there?
One of you guys got it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, John.
There is a preference to ones that sponsor or select the certain sponsorship levels. So they do get first dibs on sponsorships. And then usually, it goes out and by the afternoon, it's sold out. The first day it goes out. But the ones that do pay for other additional sponsorship levels are the ones that get the first dibs at those sponsorship and exhibiting in the exhibit hall.
Great.
Yeah, I can tell you, I've been a sponsor or part of a sponsoring company since the beginning. Since the long story is, I was one of the co-creators of the Facility Masters Award and Facility Masters Conference that was originally managed through ASBO International and then sprouted into this other stuff. I can tell you that they, as a sponsor since the beginning, that what John says, that this stuff sells out when they open it up, which they have already opened up for next year. It's gone. Like if you don't jump on it, you're out. And if you're not a reputable vendor, you're not going to come back a second time. They don't need to tell you not to come back. You'll be known. These guys are smart. They sniff out the nonsense real good. So and they all have great relationships. You've been to this event, haven't you, Paul?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you got to get you next year. We're going to get you next year. No,
and Andy, I just want to say that either someone's smoking brisket outside of your house there, or your house is on fire. There's a lot of smoke by that window.
We got some laundry going on in the.
Oh, okay.
All right,
I was just worried. I didn't hear any alarms or anything, so I figured it was safe. I was going for the brisket. That was my
well, I'd be going for that too. So hey, I just want to jump in a little bit. We value the feedback, and I think that's another thing that sets us apart. Not that other conference committees and chair people do not, but like we really push for evaluations of our speakers and evaluations of even our breakfasts and our meals and things like that. And we hear a lot from our exhibitors, and that's why we strive hard. We know that we can't do this without exhibitors, so we strive hard to take their feedback and find ways to involve them. But on top of that, Josh had touched on that, right? Like, he's been around for a very long time, and just going back to one of those original questions of like, how do you guys do this? Who's all involved? We can't ignore the fact of the foundation that was set up by the people that preceded us. So like the co-chairs that came before us, like Jim Beckman and Dale Zabel, those sort of people. But Josh, I know you were a big part of that. You've been on the committees probably for as long as, the 16 years that we're talking about here. So they set up a really good foundation, and we're just trying to find ways to evolve it and somewhat make it our own. And to touch on a couple of those, like we brought in these big hitters. That was something that Jeremiah brought to this conference. But we're proud of some recognition, because we feel that recognition is absolutely important. So like this year we have two new awards that we're presenting, and actually we're giving out 3 total, but 2 different recognitions. And one is the supporting cast member of the year. So we receive submissions from people, not just, it can't be like a facility director, but who supports that facility director. Is it an operations supervisor, a custodial supervisor? It could possibly even be like an administrative assistant for that person. So we're giving out actually 2 of those, because it was a very tight race between the 2 top candidates. So like, they both deserve it. So we're giving out that. And then we're also giving out what we call the recovery of the year. So we received nominations for school districts, restoration companies, insurance companies, where a school district might have experienced some type of tragedy, such as a flood, fire, storm damage, that sort of thing. So if they submitted their situation to us, we looked at all those, and there's going to be an award that goes out to them. So that not only just identifies and recognizes the school district's work, but it also recognizes some of our partners as exhibitors, which are the restoration companies and insurance companies. So just really proud of how we've evolved this since we've taken it over, and that's just some pieces of that.
Right on. Well, this has been great, guys. I wanted to do a half hour. I know a couple of you are on a tight schedule, and I appreciate you giving the time. Did I miss anything? And I didn't, the one thing I didn't want to miss that we've already said, I know John said it once, how do people register? Where do they go to get more information? If I missed anything, jump in, chime in, questions, concerns, anything.
John's holding up the registration.
wasbo.com/Midwest or Facility Masters /Facility Masters, but wasbo.com, and it's scheduled for October 30th and 31st at the Kalahari in Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin.
Right on.
Hey, John and Jeremiah, who's our opening keynote?
That'd be Mr. Joshua Peach.
Yeah,
Josh Peach, baby.
I'm going to tell you something, guys. It's an immense honor for me, and I got to thank you for the opportunity. Cue
Even
the dog.
dog
Love
likes
it.
it.
Yeah, the dog.
Even
Of course
the
it
dog
does. Even the dog.
Dog
How do you not like it? But no, this is going to be a huge honor. I'm going to have a really interesting, unique surprise for this one for you guys, and I'm not going to be dressed up like a dinosaur, which I look forward to seeing your costumes. But no, it's going to be great. So wasbo.com /Facility Master. What was it? wasbo.com
or wasbo.com /Midwest.
Right on. I will put that in the show notes. And anything else you guys got?
No, thank you for having us, and we're excited. I mean, it's a
Awesome.
tremendous opportunity for vendors and for exhibitors and for attendees to take advantage of.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Paul, you got anything? Did I miss anything?
No, I just want to say, go get that 400. I wish you guys the best.
Yeah.
Go get it. And
Well,
Josh, don't miss me too much out there.
No, I didn't realize
we
don't have an October trip. It's not too late if you want to come along.
Yeah, you know it's my bow season that I'm a hunter.
Oh, that's right. They got game kids.
Paul, that's why my dogs are so rambunctious. We're actually going to be on our way out the door to go do some hunting. So
See?
they
It's
know
that
it.
time of year.
Yeah.
Well, next year you'll have to figure out how to plan to do some. You're working on Missouri hunting now. You can work on some Wisconsin hunting.
Yeah.
Get going. So, well, I know you're going to ask me, Paul.
Yeah, where is it? Let's hear the shout out.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out, Wisconsin style. Seeing as how we got some Wisconians here, and we're going to be in Wisconsin next week. We're going to talk about Mr. Peanuts. Beloved Mr. Peanuts, now a finalist for National Custodian of the Year. Mr. Peanuts, a beloved custodian at Park Elementary School in Cross Plains, is being recognized for his dedication to students by being named a finalist in the National Custodian of the Year contest. Rodney Esser, who goes by by Peanuts or Mr. Peanuts, has been a custodian at Park Elementary for, get this, 59 years. Many in the community describe him as the heartbeat of the school. He has been a leader and mentor, doing more than just cleaning and maintenance for students and staff. At 83 years old, Peanuts is now among the 10 finalists in the National 2023 Custodian of the Year contest, which is sponsored by Cintas Corp., a company that produces cleaning supplies. A winner will be chosen by the public via online voting. He says, "I'm beyond humbled and honored to be considered," Peanuts said, saying the staff at Park Elementary had been nominating him secretly for a while. "I'm blessed that they would think of me and think I'd be worthy of entering a contest, much less winning it. I'm just happy to be part of the contest and proud of Park School. The students and staff," he said, "the winner of the contest will receive $10,000 as well as $5,000 in Cintas and Rubbermaid products and training valued at up to 30. I got to see if this guy got it. Or if it's happened yet, because this is pretty amazing. For his 60th anniversary with the school in 2024, Peanuts is planning to host a concert to raise money for the entire school district.
Huh.
How far away is Cross Plains from Wisconsin Dells? Is that a long ride? I mean, Massachusetts is a small state. Wisconsin's kind of big.
45 minutes to an hour.
I think I got some work to do.
That's not bad.
I
You
think
can do that in 30 minutes.
I think we got to get Mr. Peanuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We got some work to do, boys. That's going to do it from here. This has been another awesome podcast. As you can see, we just got great people all around us. I can just throw this idea out there and get everybody on in less than 24 hours. And Paul knows the right clothes to wear. I didn't even have my Be Awesome shirt on here. It's ridiculous. I can't believe I dropped the ball. I do have my Be Awesome hat here, but I don't know what happened to it. But that'll do it from here. 5-star rating and reviews are always greatly appreciated. That's what helps get us our exposure, gets our ratings up. We're in the top 10% of all podcasts in the world, in the galaxy for that matter. And it's because of you. So if you could keep those coming, and that'll do it for this episode. So in the meantime, if you can be anything, be awesome, and look forward to seeing you all at the Midwest FMC.
Bye, everyone. Good luck.